Hello viewers, this is Hera with the 6th program of MBA COL Project Management course. Our expert today is Mr. Saeed Chaudhary. Welcome sir.
Thank you.
Now sir, please review some of the major points of last program and also tell us about today's topic.
Our last program was scope management, and we studied scope planning, scope definition, creating work breakdown structures, scope verification, and scope control.
So could you please explain the viewers about today's topic?
Today's topic is about time management and work breakdown structure, program evaluation and review technique, schedule types, critical path method.
What are the three major constraints of project?
As we have already studied, three major constants are time, cost, and quality. What is most interesting about time is that it is considered a resource rather than a constraint. A resource which once gone is gone forever. But let us think, what makes it an effective resource? Does it add value by itself, or is it the degree of effective use of time which makes it more value adding for some and less for others?
It looks as if it were a matter of time management.
Young managers think working overtime is the only way to get the job done, but it is not correct all the way. On the contrary, managing time properly is the only way to complete the project in time.
What do you exactly mean by managing properly?
It means delegating, fixing targets, monitoring, providing feedback, keeping track, and many other things.
For example?
Manage to work on your desk without interruption, which means provide large blocks of uninterrupted time, uninvited visitors, telephone calls. Compare this week's or month's output with the last one. Improve your approach to details. Do not perform the work your subordinates can do. Have time for personal matters. Do not think of job when away from work. Make a list of things to do. Prioritize the tasks in the list. Provide flexibility. Establish procedures, and many other similar points which can be made by the project manager himself for his own use.
Easy said than done. The question is how to do it.
By locating time robbers.
And who are these?
These are many. Here is a list of a few examples. Please read it for us.
Time robbers: incomplete work, poorly done jobs that need redoing, matters arising due to poor communication, uncontrolled telephone calls, unclear responsibility. These are only a few. There is a long list. Add to this list your own time robbers. But what do we call time management in perspective of project management?
It is called scheduling, and let us define it first.
Scheduling. In project scheduling, the project manager creates a network of activity and event relationships. This network should graphically portray the sequential relations between the tasks in the project. Tasks that must precede or follow other tasks are then clearly identified in time as well as function.
Such networks are powerful tools for managing and controlling the projects, and they have many benefits. It is consistent framework for planning, scheduling, monitoring, and controlling the project. The network illustrates the interdependence of all tasks, work packages, and work elements. It denotes the times when specific individuals must be available for work on a given task.
Some of the benefits of scheduling are: network benefits. It ensures that the proper communications take place between departments and functions. It determines an expected project completion date. It identifies so-called critical activities that, if delayed, will delay the project completion time. It identifies activities with slack that can be delayed for specific periods without penalty.
Now, you must have felt that there are some words or terms that has been used which we have not discussed as yet. For example, slack, activity, event. These will be forthcoming, but you need to understand these for understanding the basics of networking.
Other network benefits of scheduling are: it determines the date on which tasks may be started or must be started if the project is stay on schedule. It illustrates which task must be coordinated to avoid resources timing conflicts. It illustrates which tasks may run or must be run in parallel to achieve the predetermined project completion date. It relieves some interpersonal conflict by clearly showing task dependencies.
As you remember, we mentioned a number of tools and techniques in the form of templates that are used in project management in the first program. Now, one of these which has been found to be a great help in project management is Gantt chart, which was formed by Mr. Gantt in 1934, and it's a beautiful technique of depicting the activities, their duration, their dates, their start time and their finish time. And it also depicts the activities running parallel, the activities running sequentially, their start date and their finish date, and that helps a lot in showing the progress at various stages. And as the reports are submitted to higher management, the Gantt chart is of great help. It tells us where we are standing now, how much time remains, and what activities are performed simultaneously and what activities are to follow others and on what dates.
Now I will be telling you about some network techniques which are PERT and CPM. With the exception of Gantt chart, the most common approach to scheduling is use of network techniques such as PERT and CPM. The program evaluation and review technique such as PERT was developed by the US Navy in 1958. The critical path method CPM was developed by DuPont Incorporation during the same time period.
Now, as you have heard and also read on the screen, the two important terms apart from the Gantt chart are PERT and CPM. These may be explained here a little bit. PERT is program evaluation and review technique, and CPM is critical path method. The details will be coming soon.
Networking techniques, PERT and CPM. PERT has been primarily used for research and development projects. CPM was designed for construction projects and has been generally embraced by the construction industry. The two methods are quite similar and are often combined for students' understanding. Now I would like to request the expert to explain the scheduling terminology.
Activity, a specific task or set of tasks that are required by the project, use up resources and take time to complete. Event, the result of completing one or more activities, an identifiable end state occurring at a particular time. Events use no resources. Network, the combination of all activities and events define the project and the activity precedence relationships. The two important points that you might have noted in this slide are that events use no resources and the network explains the precedence relationship, which means what precedes what and what succeeds what, which means the activities which are in sequence, they precede and succeed one another. These are two important points to understand.
Some more terms are path, critical, and critical path. Path, the series of connected activities or intermediate events between any two events in a network. Critical, activities, events, or paths which, if delayed, will delay the completion of the project. Critical path, the sequence of critical activities that connect the project start event to its finish event.
You might have noted the words critical and critical path. Critical is about activities. These are the activities which cannot be delayed, and if delayed, they will delay the whole project. And critical path is in a way the summation of the durations of these activities, which is critical path, which is longest in time but shortest in its path.
An activity can be in any of these conditions. It may have a successor but no predecessor, start a network. It may have predecessor but no successors, end a network. It may have both predecessor and successor in the middle of a network. Interconnections from horizontal links in vertical work breakdown structure.
Now, in this slide, you might have noted the use of words predecessors and successors. This means that all the activities are in a certain sequence. Some of these start the project or the network, which means that they are at the very beginning. In other words, they have no predecessors. So, when we draw a network, which we will learn presently, we place a hypothetical node in the beginning, which is start. Similarly, there are activities in the middle which have some activities preceding them and some activities succeeding them. So, these are the activities which have predecessors as well as successors. Now, there are activities at the end which have no successors, obviously because they are activities at the end, but they have predecessors. So, to make a complete closed loop, we place a hypothetical node at the end and write end in it. That makes a complete loop from start to end with certain activities at the beginning which have no predecessor, certain activities at the end which have no successors, and activities in the middle which have predecessors as well as successors.
Hypothetical network.
This is a network which is hypothetical, which means that we are not giving names of actual activities of an actual project. For example, you can see activity from number 1 to number 2 and the duration written on the arrow. So, it is also called activity on arrow or AOA. It will be coming in the next slides also. Then there is activity from 2 to 3 and it takes 13 days or weeks or months. And then activity number 4, activity number 5, activity number 6 with the duration written on these. Now, you can see that there is a dotted line going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 5 and 5 to 6. 2 to 4 and 4 to 5 are not dotted. This is to show the critical activities, and you can calculate the estimated time of completion of this project, which is 64 days or months or whatever unit we are using. Now you can see on the screen the normal curve of activity and project, which means that when we are thinking of activities, we think of them in their time duration. And as you can see in the center line, the curve of activity is skewed right, which means that it will take more time at the end and less time in the beginning. And as you can see on project, the project activities are normally distributed.
As you have seen the letters A, M and B in the previous slide. Now the expert will tell you what these alphabets and these letters stands for.
These letters are used when we are not satisfied with only one duration of each activity and we want to calculate some more so that we are sure about the probability of completing the project in time. A stands for most optimistic time and B stands for most pessimistic time and M stands for most likely time. And the formula, which has been derived by researchers after studying a number of projects, is expected time or estimated time is equal to A plus 4M plus B over 6. Now this helps us calculate the estimated time of activity, and then we calculate this estimated time for each activity and place it in the network. This is used when a single estimate for activity time is not sufficient. Now how do we calculate most likely time, most optimistic time, most pessimistic time? Without going into details, you can learn that most optimistic time is least time, because it means that we will not be facing any difficulties, and most pessimistic time is the longest time, because we feel that we will be facing as many difficulties as possible, and most likely time is the mode of the activity. That is, if we calculate from a number of studies, we can see the mode as we calculate mean, as we calculate median. So this is the mode of activity. Now as we were discussing, we can calculate a number of things from network and CPM, which are very useful for completion of projects in time. One of these is the calculation of probability of completing the project in time. You can see on the screen the formula for calculating probability of completion of projects in the scheduled time, that is the time which has been given to us by the clients. The formula is Z is equal to scheduled time minus estimated time divided by summation of standard deviation multiplied by estimated time square and whole under root, and this gives us a score which is called Z. Now this Z we again check from the statistical tables available. Those are called tables of probability based on Z, and that gives us across the columns the probability of a project for a certain period. Now that period can be extended and that period can be lessened. Similarly, the probability level can be extended or it can be shortened or lessened. For example, if we calculate and we reach at a result that this project can be completed in 64 days with 89% probability, then we can be satisfied that the 64 days are also the scheduled time. But sometimes the company feels that 89% probability is no good. We must have greater probability of completing the project in 64 days, which means that it should be either 95%. So then we come back and we recalculate our activities and their durations, and we recalculate based on that probability of 95% the completion time of the project. With that, we come to the end of this program, and we may be taking up in detail the calculation of this probability in the coming programs.
At the end of the program, I would like to thank the expert. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take care. Allah Hafiz.